Hey guys, firstly, happy Halloween season. This is my favorite time of the year, and I know we all have our own ritual for getting into the Halloween spirit, whether it be horror movies, decorating, pumpkin patches, etc. For myself, I like to play video games that instill those elements that make up my Halloween childhood nostalgia. And hopefully this is a nice entry point for whoever's watching to start a nice Halloween gaming binge. For those that are a little strapped on time, I also have attached a blog site for this content. It's easily digestible. It's about a 5-minute read. Okay guys, let's not delay. I'd be happy for you guys to join me during the best time of the year, counting down these games that I consider necessary for the Halloween tradition. Alright, just a quick rundown. I do have some metrics I run by as to how I like my game to fit into this criteria of essential Halloween gaming. Firstly, we've got the Halloween motifs. Any kind of color palette with orange, green, purple, black, settings that include like autumn, castles, odd European villages, you get it. Second, the enemy types. There has to be essential monsters. This includes ghosts, zombies, vampires. And third, the music is everything. We need spooky music. Bonus points for anything that's got a theremin. That sound just hits a chord in my soul for 90s Halloween nostalgia. Okay, starting off pretty strong, I put Scooby-Doo in Night of 100 Frights at number 9, for obvious reasons. A lot would agree that Scooby-Doo was born out of love for emerging horror trends in the 70s. As far as Halloween goes, the show is a staple in my household. The game makes that transition with great success. Spooky settings from haunted mansions, dilapidated cemeteries, and then you get those iconic Scooby-Doo villains as the cherry on top. Gameplay-wise, it's an action platformer with surprising quality to it. Scooby-Doo is equipped with many abilities such as a sprint, double jump, and then picks up skills on the way. And in awesome encounters with the Scooby Gang, those abilities are enhanced. My favorite feature of this title is the open map, kind of reminiscent of recent Castlevania games. You kind of have to find items to enable further passage in other territories. And it's all made simple with a great fast travel system. The map is quite sprawling with varied environments. The music strikes a good spooky chord. It's a regrettable easy video game. The graphics are pretty rough. And the song loops can get annoying, but I think it's got legs to stand on its own. It's at 85% as far as spook factor, and a Halloween title must play. Next on this list is the Resident Evil franchise as a whole. This is my horror survival pick for this list. Any title really fits well within this Halloween horror spirit reach, but for myself, I think the best titles to capture that George A. Romero zombie flick essence is Resident Evil 2 and 3, the classic versions. The tank controls and not knowing where your enemies come from really ramp up the tension, and the puzzle solving is addicting. There's also something about that generic zombie groan that really fills me with nostalgia for old zombie movies. I also recommend the recent RE Village. This title introduces that kind of lycanthrope virus which is akin to werewolves, and then you get your version of vampires, a creepy European setting. It's really fitting for that Halloween classic horror feel. For spook factor, this game achieves a 90%. So not only is this series a perfect Halloween game, but it's also the perfect video game. The Castlevania series has laid roots for many platformers and Metroidvanias to come. The premise is to defeat Dracula, and to do that you traverse a creepy enchanted castle, complete with gothic architecture, hauntingly beautiful music and atmosphere, and of course all manner of creatures of the night. I recommend playing all the titles in this franchise, but if you're strapped on time, Super Castlevania 4 and Symphony of the Night are perfect introduction to the series. I can go on about the ways in which this series checks those boxes, but I'll just say this: get this game and play it. This is an easy 95% on the spook factor. The next title I feel is a hidden gem and sorely overlooked. This is Death Jr. 2 Root of Evil. Ripped straight out of a Saturday morning cartoon, you play as a troublemaking Grim Reaper and his chaotic friend Pandora, as they try to undo this plant demon's destruction on the town. The reason why I feel this is an essential Halloween title is that it evokes the quippy and playful dark charm that you'd expect in media like Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, or even Courage the Cowardly Dog. Then tacked on is a third-person action platformer shooter. It plays in the vein of Ratchet & Clank. The writing's clever, gameplay hits some strong notes, the enemy types range from the undead to killer toys, and the soundtrack has a spooky accent while the colors scream autumn. This is a justifiable 80 on the spook meter, held back by its buggy jank nature, and it's a little short in length. Wow, the research for this list was really difficult when it came to 8-bit and 16-bit entries. There are just so many great Halloween-esque titles to choose from. But without a doubt, at the top of that list would come Zombies Ate My Neighbors and Ghoul Patrol. I actually remember being scared playing this as a kid. The blood-curdling scream of a town person dying freaked me out. But anyways, two excellent top-down shooters in the vein of Enter the Gungeon, with a vibrant spooky soundtrack, a color palette giving off that 80s and 90s charm, and the setting and atmosphere is perfect for the Halloween season. Chainsaw Psychos, Killer Dolls, Zombie Pirates. Like Castlevania, it really is all here. A great game to go co-op with a friend, and if it wasn't for the challenging gameplay, this title would have scored higher on the spook factor at 85%. The next entry is an interesting one. With Luigi's Mansion's inception, I feel that this was the start in this genre of ghost-busting gameplay, made popular with the concept in the film Ghostbusters. For Halloween, ghost hunting just seems like the reasonable theme to stick with, and so these three ghost hunting games on this list I feel are excellent choices. First with the obvious Luigi's Mansion series. Next we have Disney's take on the genre with the Haunted Mansion. And finally, the IP that started it all, Ghostbusters on the Wii. All these games have in common is addicting ghost catching gameplay, immersive puzzle solving, and they all have great characterization of haunts. All of these elements are laid out in very interesting ways. This entry is up there at 90% spook. Haunted Halloween, both 85 and 86 on the NES, goes out of their way to capture that Halloween spirit. In many circles, this is the titular Halloween gaming title. The story alone speaks for itself. Your town is struck with a Halloween curse, where things like zombies and killer pumpkins wreak havoc, all made with a tone that is best described as a B-movie romp. It plays like a side-scrolling beat-em-up, although with some jankiness and challenge, most common in retro games, but if you manage to stomach that, you'll end up with something special. It's short and digestible, with a third sequel on the way, so now's a good time. Retro difficulty permitting, and with the limits of sound and graphics on this older console, this stands at a strong 85%. This one's a little bit of a hidden gem. I was introduced to this series on the DS, but if you do get your hands on these two Inuy's zombie series, you'll come across a very comical and beautifully cartoon rendered rail shooter. And what you get here is the over-the-top delight of mowing down hordes of zombies. I especially liked the backgrounds and indestructible environments around each level. The versions of zombies here are very varied and very creative. There's a lot of charm to this game, and to myself it's a great Halloween addition. This goes to 80% on the spook meter. Last but not least, the Costume Quest series. Trick-or-treating, locales covered in spooky decor, robust RPG system centered around costumes, collecting candy as currency. Everything about this title is the definitive Halloween gaming experience, and it's only made better by Double Fine's clever writing. The world is intricately crafted, the storyline is very easy to follow and very enjoyable. You'll love the characters. This duo of brother and sister going out of their way to protect each other and overcome the villain. This game really does check all the boxes, and I especially recommend this as a must play during the Halloween season at 100% spook meter. Okay guys, I said 9 games, but I do want to add one special entry to this list. Just a quick shout out to the Animal Crossing community and their respective islands. Across the board, this community has crafted these amazing Halloween towns, Take a look, guys, this speaks for itself. This isn't officially on the list because it does take hours of gameplay to get to this point, but if you do manage to get there, this becomes the ultimate Halloween decorating simulator. And for myself, Halloween decorating was a childhood staple, so definitely this is a little honorable mention. Alright guys, that was my totally objective, fact-based metric on my favorite 9 games to play during the Halloween season. I hope you guys found something to add to your list, and if there's something you would add to this list, please let me know down in the comments. Alright guys, have a good Halloween. Take care.